Hey there, how are you tonight? Sorry, I'm really late. And Rocket Propelled Freeman says, if it makes it any easier, Steffi is acceptable. That does make it make it easier because words are hard. How are you tonight? And Steffi says tired, should be sleeping. I got enough sleep for a change, but I'm still exhausted. Well, you're welcome to hang out here until you're ready to sleep. Oh, but sunburn is a thing. Oh, I'm so sorry. I haven't even been out enough this summer to get even just the most little bit of tan. That's probably not a good thing. I'm probably not getting enough vitamin D. So, how'd you get sunburned? Were you doing something fun or just doing like, outdoors work? You has garden. You're weeding. Oh man. Least favorite part of gardening. Oh, but you got sunburnt from fishing. So was fishing fun? Did you catch stuff? Favorite activity. Do you eat what you catch or do you catch and release? Your stepdad used to take you three girls fishing. It's very cool. Hey, Mama Maid. Sorry I'm late. I went fishing once. I was 4 or 5, and my grandparents had a little cabin in the wilderness. Not real far, I mean, not in what I would call northern Michigan, but north of where my family lived. And so we always called going to the cabin going up north. And my family would go fishing in the backwaters of the Five Channels Dam on the Osable River in Michigan. And I caught something. My cousins all said it was a crab. She caught a crab. I suspect now, looking back, it was probably a crawdad or crayfish. As Debbie says, he used to say if you were meant to catch things, they'd call it catching. Mama Maid says no worries, and Veggie says good evening. And as you can see, once again, I am not plying. I was winding center pole balls of things that needed to be plied, and thought, I need to do some dyeing, so I should keep spinning white yarn so I have more stuff to dye. So, Bow and Maid and Veggie Zombie, what are y'all up to tonight? Yeah, how were your days? Tonight's spinning is Polworth and Silk Blend. I'm guessing that it will take the dye marvelously because things with silk generally do and have a little bit of sheen. And I'm going to spin this a bit finer. So this will probably be it'll probably bloom a little when I dye it. But it'll be somewhere betwixt fingering and sport. Mama Maid said actually knitting tonight. Steffi says it depends on the size of the fish. We can't keep anything undersized unless it's a catfish. Do you eat catfish? I know some people love catfish and some people won't eat it at all. Mama Maid said instead of looking at the knitting while I read. I got a little more reading done last night. Veggie said, fixed my lace in my sock, so it's out of timeout. All right. Steffi says, oh yeah. I think I've only had catfish once, and I thought it was good. Steffi says, I grew up in the South. I did too, not real far. So I grew up in Norfolk, Virginia, which is south of the Mason-Dixon line, but not in the deep South. Veggie said, had to go to the outside today. It was peeply. I have to go to the outside tomorrow too. I have to go pick up my new glasses. I'll be able to see chat from a reasonable distance away without using the bifocals. I should not have to use the bifocal part for things that are far away from me. Steffi said, so Sunday catfish was the thing. Cool. The fish that I grew up eating, well, when we'd be in Michigan visiting family, the fish of choice was usually lake perch, yellow perch, which I've not had now in several decades. Growing up in Norfolk, well, we'd have crabs. People would crab, and you get those little blue crabs, like they have on the East Coast. So that was my idea of crab when I was growing up. I didn't know there were these things that had these big legs and they ate crab legs. But my favorite, the most prolific fish that they would catch, because I never went because most people fished from boats, and my stepfather and some of his buddies would go. One of the neighbors had a little fishing boat, And the fish they would catch the most of were called spots or spotties. And sometimes they'd catch something called a croaker. And then there were these little things called blowtoads that you had to peel. It's like they didn't really have scales, I don't think. So instead of descaling them, you like cut their head off and then you peeled them, and it required 2 pair of pliers. It was the weirdest thing. But those were really good. And then my favorite was flounder, fresh flounder. Okay, now I have to scroll back because y'all got past me. Veggie says, but I got Happy Yarn mail, so worth it. I would say that's worth it. I am still waiting. I have no idea when to expect my sock blockers, which I'm very excited about, and I want them yesterday. And I ordered some roving to dye, and don't know when that's coming. What is it with all these people who don't, like have tracking and stuff? And what else did I order? I ordered some of that zebra yarn to dye, and I'm interested in seeing what that's like. And it is not superwash, and it is also the Peruvian Highland. So apparently I'm big on the Peruvian Highland right now. But last night, Birding Mom suggested a yarn-based supplier who I had not worked with before, and it looks like their prices are reasonable, and I'm going to inquire about wholesale. Although maybe I should order some sample skeins and then inquire about wholesale. So I might order from there, and I need to do some comparison shopping after I find out what their wholesale discount is. And what else did I order? Oh, there was, when I was an undergraduate still, about 1982, or no, maybe I was in grad school. I was in grad school already, 1983. Like, everybody that year got walks for Christmas. Like, everybody I knew. Walks were a thing. So I had received a walk for Christmas, and at the local bookstore found a walk cookbook. Very Americanized, of course. And it had a recipe for a stir fry that I think it was meant to have chicken in it as the meat. But my sister lived in Fort Myers, Florida at that time. And every time my parents would go down, they'd bring home boxes of frozen shrimp. Because you'd go down to the pier and get it from the fresh shrimp place. And they were frozen, but they were just caught, sort of thing, and flash frozen. So my roommate and I would use the shrimp in the stir fry. And it was so good. And there was a recipe that went with this recipe for a sweet and sour sauce that was homemade that was really good. And I lost track of that book probably within a couple of years after that. I don't know whatever happened to it. But somebody on a Facebook group posted a link to a cookbook, a vintage cookbook that was I think it was like recipes off of boxes, bottles, and jars, sort of thing. But I recognized the author's name as the name of the walk cookbook. So I got on Amazon and I found it. And since it's like from the early 80s, most of the copies were way more pricey than I was willing to pay, but I found one for like $2.50. So that's coming, and I have no idea when that's coming. Okay, Where'd I leave off? Mama made said catfish is delicious. I think that's where I left off. Mama maid said mudcat is disgusting though, not gonna lie. I don't know what that is. What's mudcat? Veggie said good fried catfish is good, lol. Steffi said Maryland blues. Oh god, we had friends who had property on a river that was half fresh and half salt. Yeah, and see, all of we lived on the Chesapeake Bay, and that's an estuary, which I didn't realize until just a couple of years ago. But all of those rivers in Virginia and Maryland coming down and dumping into the Chesapeake Bay, so yeah, so it's an estuary. So the fish are different in the Chesapeake Bay, I would assume, than they would be out in the ocean. Perhaps. I don't know. Talking out my ass again. But yeah, those little blue crabs were good. Mama Maid said I have a bastard court bouillon recipe that uses catfish, and it's good blackened with etouffee. Now see, I say that backwards every time. I'm dyslexic of Cajun French, I guess. Etouffee, I think that's how you pronounce it. Mama Maid said, so it can be done other ways than fried. Yeah, we don't got no catfish around here that I'm aware of. Mama Maid said, I have yarn coming from a shop in Canada. No tracking makes me anxious. Yeah, coming from anything that's got to come across the border right now. I don't think I'd hold my breath on it coming quickly. Steffi said, so no rain, very, very salty, and also not many fish other than jellyfish. Yeah, we've been talking about jellyfish a lot around here lately. We're waiting for the storms in the Gulf to fling them at Bum and Maid's roof, even though she's very far away from the Gulf. Steffi says, etouffee? Etouffee? French was the one language offered in high school and college that I never studied. Steffi said we do. They are an invasive species, catfish. So eat all of them you want then, right? If they're invasive. No limits on catfish. Mama Maid said, when I say mudcat, I mean the variety that tastes like the nasty bottom of a river. I'm sure it has a name. Oh, Mama Maid says etouffee. And then etou brute. Yeah, I know that one. But that's Latin, isn't it? And Steffi says, yeah. I don't really know people who fish or hunt around here. I mean, I know that there are deer and people deer hunt. But it's not as big a deal here as it was when I lived in Michigan. And I don't know anybody that fishes. Stepdaughter had a boyfriend for a short time recently who hunts and fishes, but he turned out to not be all he looked like on paper. Steffi says, but we tend to relegate our catch to at least 4. Bumma Maid says, "Uh-oh, that sounds like there was drama. Sorry for that." There kind of was, but I'm really proud of her. She stood up for herself. He turned out to be very controlling, and coming from the little bit I know about his parents' divorce and such, um, I'm not surprised. That he would feel the need to control his surroundings and the people around him. But she stood up for herself, and when it was clear that he wasn't willing to listen to her opinions, she said, "This isn't going to work." And she said, bye. And she's sad, but I'm really proud of her. Because, I wasn't that wise at that age. Steffi says, "Leave some for others." Yeah, but if they're invasive. Yeah, I hear ya. Bama Maid said, "Oh, good." Yeah, I'm so proud of her. So her mother didn't set a good example, to say the least. But rather than learning those same behaviors, she was bright enough and paying enough attention that she knew that's not how she wants to live. Okay, I need a tater chip. I found some. See, I always kind of liked Pringles, which I should probably be embarrassed about. Because, they're like fake potato chips made out of who knows what. But they contain wheat, so I cannot have them. But I found something called Sensible Portions Garden Veggie Chips that look like Pringles and are very reminiscent of them. But they're gluten-free. I won't eat you, veggie. As they say in The Rise of the Illyri, nah, we don't need our friends. Oh, speaking of... Oh, wait. Bama Maid said they're like mashed tater chips, not necessarily fake. Yeah, but they got a lot of stuff in them. A lot of stuff that I shouldn't eat. So I was really happy to find these. And, excuse me, pardon my allergies are driving me crazy. Speaking of science fiction, which we've talked about a lot here recently, have any of you watched Raised by Wolves? It's new on Showtime. And there are only 3 episodes out, I think, so far. I had been seeing trailers for it all over the place, and it looked kind of interesting, but I couldn't quite figure out what was going on. So I watched the first episode last night, and I don't have HBO, but a friend of mine found it somewhere else. So, like on a peer-to-peer movie streaming site or something. That can't be legal, but so I watched the first episode, and the story is intriguing, but it moves very slow. But I think that's kind of the point. But I think some things happened toward the end of the episode. I think it's gonna be a little less slow now. Veggie says no, and Bama Maid said, sounds like a London story. Well, the premise is that at some point in our future, humans had some sort of a religious war, religious people, some particular religious sect against atheists, and managed to destroy the planet in the process. So the religious sect managed to get like 1,000 people into an ark and off into space, and the atheists got some undisclosed number of people. It seems like the atheists are more science-y, and they built and programmed two androids, one to be the mother and one to be the mother figure and one to be the father figure, and sent them to a likely looking planet where maybe they could and they sent with them some fertilized embryos and sent them to this planet that seemed likely to be a place where they could, raise these children and restart the human race. But not everything goes as planned. Mama Maid said one of the wolves named White Fang by chance. There, as far as I can tell, there aren't actually any wolves. I think the title is more in reference to being raised by androids. The female, the mother, of which it's like they knew that the androids would eventually start to break down. The hope was that by the time they did, that the children would no longer need them, would no longer need surrogate adults. But yeah, like I said, things don't always go as planned. But her programming to protect the children stays very, very intact, but some other stuff kind of goes off the rail. Mama Maid said that's not the future, that's now, mixed with some Manson for flavor. Veggie says, just leave the atheists alone. Yeah, that would have been good advice. Well, everybody should leave everybody alone. But, Veggie said, I mean, if you're doing more than shady stuff. Mama Maid said, I think I made Older very happy. I told her I want her to make me some clay charms so I can use them for stitch markers, progress keepers. Cool. You're letting her be part of your adventure. And then says, and when I told her they should be snack shaped, she exploded with ideas. So what kind of snacks is she going to make? Veggie said, yes, off the mine crack. Mama Maid said, well, I want some pumpkins and candy corn. Then I mentioned cake, and it evolved into cosmic brownies, zebra cakes, and butter butters. What's a butter butter? Oh, Nutter Butter cookies, yeah. Hey, Snyder Spindles played the Jaws theme. Thank you. Ooh, it goes on a long time. Zebby's Veggie screams. Yeah, the other sounds that people have played were just little short sound bites. That's a long one. So, welcome, Snyder Spindles. How are you tonight? Snyder Spindle says, I need to make an entrance. None of this quietly sneaking in. And says, I'm okay, drained, but took a long nap today. I slept a long time today. Let's see. Oh, geez. I think I slept 11 and a half hours. And, and I haven't been up terribly long, but I'm tired again already. And the most strenuous things I did today were walk down the block to the mailbox and drag a load of laundry to the basement and get that going. Veggie says, feeling any better? Oh, that's a good question. Snyder Spindles, are you feeling any better? Oh, and says, I sat in my car for 2.5 hours to get a Q-tip stuck in my nose. Were they gentle at least? I've heard a ton of people say they had had a headache the rest of the day after that. How long do you have to wait for your results? And Veggie asked, how much brain did they take? and then says, "Oh, wrong tool." And he says, "It just tickled my brain a little. 3 to 5 days for results." That's not too bad. Some people, by the time they get their results, they're past their 2-week thing. Their 2-week quarantine. And Bauman asked, "How long till you find out if you're a mummy?" And Veggie said, "Congratulations." Oh, wait. And he says, "My temp is a little better, but still dizzy." Bauman maid said, "Not that kind of mummy." And Snyder Spindle says, "All wrapped up?" And excuse me, Bauman maid said, "Husbeast had his test done and had a nosebleed all over the tech doing it." Well, because some of them are like, they shove that up there and they're literally digging towards your brain. It's like, okay, you're looking for some germs, not doing a frontal lobotomy. He said 2.5 hour wait wasn't too bad. I planned all day. So they're still doing them drive through there where you are? Veggie asked whether you took any crafting. His Veggie is nosy. Veggie types in third person apparently. Yes. Bauman maid that says drive-through nasal swab. And Veggie says, "But that is a long wait." It is. Could get quite a bit of knitting done in that amount of time. Or spindling. My friend Jen spindles at red lights when she's commuting back and forth to work. Snyder says 20 minutes away, but yeah, drive through. And yes, I have a mini Turk in my car. Well, I would be disappointed to hear otherwise. What are you spinning on your mini Turk in the car? But my mate said, "I don't see that taking off as a business." See, mini Turkish army is a thing. Snyder said, "Just some merino." And Veggie says, "It is." You know, it, it I see some irony in the fact that we're so accustomed to merino. We're like, just some merino because, it's everywhere. And a little more than 200 years ago, merino was contraband in this country. Snyder says, I spin a lot of black-faced meat sheep, mainly because I'm cheap. Like Suffolk and that sort of thing. I spun a lot of Suffolk when I was learning to spin back in the college days. Because, well, I was cheap. Well, poor. I was in college. And spinning fiber wasn't as easily acquired as it is now. And so it often involved driving around in the boonies until you smelled sheep and knocking on the farmer's door to ask if they had any fleeces they would sell. But I don't see a thing wrong with black-faced meat sheep wool. And it's really, really good for, like socks, things that, not soft and squishy like merino socks, but, merino socks get holes in them if I look at them cross-eyed from across the room. Bumba Mate said if someone from that time period came to now and saw how widely available merino is, yeah. Snyder Spindle says, I get it by the bump from R.H. Lindsay. I just ordered, so by any chance the Dorset Polypay? I just ordered a pound of that to check out because I heard someone on a Twitch stream speak highly of it. I also ordered a couple of pounds of Rambouillet because I love Rambouillet. And that might be for me. That might grow up to be a sweater. Number 91, Domestic 56's wool top. What do you think of it? How would you describe it? Is there anything that you might compare it to? I should maybe just order a pound and see what I think. And like I was saying the other night, I wish, I didn't have to use like 5 different suppliers to get all the breeds I want, especially sock yarn. Everybody's got merino. Everybody's got merino nylon, merino blended with nylon. But, one distributor has the Peruvian Highland wool, and another supplier has Targhee or Corriedale sock yarn, and yet another supplier has, something else. It's like, I want to consolidate my shopping. Basically, it's what it really is more is that, I don't want to have all these wholesale accounts. Snyder Spindle says it drafts well, has a little grip to it, decent staple length. I really like it. And then, like, would you use it for knitting or weaving, or what do you use it for? Yeah. You can't use that. What would happen if you turned it inside out? But you don't need anything that big. Okay. I would wrap tissue paper or toilet paper or something around the keys to pad them, and then maybe cut that in half or in quarters and use clear packing tape to make it into a smaller mailer. Is that surface too bumpy for the tape to stick to, or is it? Okay, that might work. It depends. If you do you have a card that you could put it inside of and then put the card in the envelope? Well, I'm thinking more of like cardstock, not paper. You could do that. So wrap it up in tissue paper or toilet paper or something and put it inside a card inside an envelope, and that probably will be okay. Or you could cut a piece of that and wrap it around the. But I would still put it like in a card, not just in an envelope. Okay. Okay. Alrighty. Doing a little problem solving. Snyder says, I made a giant one granny square blanket, so heavy, but my girlfriend threw it in the washer and dryer before it was done. No! To quote Veggie. So I'm guessing that it felt it up very nicely. Is it still usable? If not as a blanket or a throw, maybe it could be a rug. Veggie says, moment of silence for unfinished project. Snyder says, it's big enough for a lap blanket. We just don't talk about it. Yeah. Well, perhaps the next time I'm going to order roving, maybe I'll order a pound of that. And because, I kept looking at it and just not being sure. So you think it would be suitable for like mittens and hats sort of thing? Bauman Maid said, thoughts on afterthought heels before I just go for it. Because I don't want to mess with a gusset and because I'm lazy and just want to keep knitting in the round right now. Snyder Spindle says, yes, but not for undies. Okay, good. That's exactly the kind of information I need. Not soft enough for against a bare bottom or a baby skin, but perfectly suitable for mittens and outerwear. I have not ever done afterthought heels. A lot of people do. I think basically you just cut a slit and pick up stitches and then do a short row heel, right? And I think that's what, even though you can do a short row heel on a circular sock machine, some people just do the tubes and then do an afterthought heel and pick up stitches for the toe after it's off the machine. I don't know. I like heel flaps and gussets. And, so that's mostly what I do. Unless I get, in a mood and then I do fish lips kiss heels. Veggie says, Kirby Werby YouTube. Mama Maid said, do I want to use waste yarn or go all snippy? Boy, I have no problem cutting into hand-woven fabric that's woven from hand-spun yarn, but cutting into knitting scares the bejeebies out of me. So I would use waste yarn, but tons and tons and tons of people just snip in. Veggie said, if you're nervous, maybe go for waist, but I've done both. Ooh, you're very brave, Veggie. I didn't know that you did afterthought heels. Yeah, Baba Maid said, this is a crap ton of socks I'm knitting. So I have things to experiment with. I did that when I was knitting the children's socks for Children in Common years ago. It was like, I'm going to try all these different heels and toes and cast-ons and top-downs and toe-ups. And it was fun because they were small socks and mostly worsted weight. Worsted weight small socks go fast. Veggie said, I haven't steeked yet. I don't know if I'm that brave, lol. My local yarn shop did that steeked cup cozy, mug cozy thing, and I didn't know about it until I missed the announcement. I would have loved to have had other people there being scared with me. Bauman Maid said, but afterthought just seems like so much more sense. Knit a tube, then do the thing to make a thing. Snyder Spindle says, here's a tube, I'm keeping it a tube. My thought is that tube socks, based on my experience with the tube gym socks from the 70s and 80s, is that they wear out faster because the fabric is all stretched weird around your heel. They were what we were all wearing, though. Hey, Knots and Stitches, how are you tonight? Bob and Maid said, Tube socks. Gonna do a pair of those because why not? It's one pair in the 26. Yeah, I'm thinking that I might do some dye experiments for my festive box of socks, and just like do a single skein, and maybe I'll experiment with some of the sprinkle dyeing. I don't know that I want to do that as part of what I consider my line of colorways, but because there's so many people who do that and do it well, and I guess I've not felt the need to jump on that bandwagon, but I thought it might be fun for some like holiday-ish themed socks. Veggie said, I think the smooth operator sock pattern has an afterthought heel. Knots and Stitches says, I'm good. Well, very good. Welcome to our, whatever 43 things we're talking about all at the same time. Snyder Spindle said, you're not Mr. Rogers. You don't get a cardigan. But I like cardigans. I'm trying to think. I think the only sweater I ever knit for myself out of handspun, which would have been somewhere probably around 1988 or 89. I wore, it was a cardigan, and I wore it for years, and it was made from wool I got at the Frankenmuth Woolen Mill, which is, where where my mom lives, and that might have even been before Zeilinger's opened. I can't remember when Zeilinger's opened. But and I'm not sure if the Frankenmuth Woolen Mill even still sells roving. They if you go in their store, I mean they process fleeces, but if you go in their store, the last time I went in their actual store, it was all manufactured wool goods. Zeilinger's usually has some roving around that you can buy. But yeah, they're all mostly about processing people's stuff now. But yeah, anyway, so I wore that sweater for decades, and it finally gave out. Mama Maid said, by the way, I'm on pair 5 now. Pair 4 had 2 completely different kinds of socks, but I don't even care. So, like, you used the same pattern for both socks, but you did different heels and toes and things? Knots and Stitches said, about to lurk and knit. Well, thank you for coming and hanging out with us. Enjoy your lurk. Hopefully we'll be entertaining. Mama Maid said, dye experiments are my entire plan for all my dyeing, as you've seen. Yeah, but see, I did all my dye experiments, like, probably before you were born. Now I want repeatable results. Mama Maid said, make the plan, execute the plan, watch the plan burn, throw the plan away as though it never existed. Mama Maid says, BRB. Mama Mate said, oh no, I started with the toe up with a difference. Got all the way through it, then did the second one top down with no differences or anything. But they're your socks, right? You can do whatever you want. Oops, sorry, I just whacked you guys upside the head again. Dang microphone. Mama Mate said both vanilla socks, same skinny yarn, one toe up, one top down, and I'm only 4 pairs into this whole thing and I don't care anymore. So I'm gonna go look up this Kirby Werby video, and I'm out an afterthought heel in this here Hermione sock. Here's hoping I can remember which half is my instio and which half is my soul stitches. Oh, right, your instep, and which half is your soul stitches. You could mark them with a progress keeper or something. Yes, ma'am. I do somewhere. One of those big rolls of packaging tape on a dispenser. I don't know if it's down here or upstairs. If it's down here, it's probably in there somewhere. Oh, Papa probably has Scotch tape. Oh, that's weird. Mama Maid said words are hard. Yes, they are. I've been struggling with them all day. Hey, Burning Mom. How are you tonight? Mama Maid said I can't hit the P button to save my life, apparently. Most of this is AutoCarrot actually working correctly. Should.
Okay. And I have a piece of cardboard wrapped around the keys with some tissue paper wrapped around the keys as well. And I let her know text. I'm going to send this out tomorrow morning when I go to school.
Okay, that's going to probably take more than one stamp.
Really?
Yeah, it's going to be heavy.
I didn't think that they said like this. Okay,
One stamp is good for up to 1 ounce.
I'll put another stamp on it.
Yeah, otherwise they'll either send it back to you or they'll make her pay the extra. Burning Mom said, oh, okay, survived another day. How are you all? I slept about 11 and a half hours. I got up about 6. Didn't do much. And I'm tired again already. Veggie said, be right back, midnight food. Veggie says, crappy food schedule today. My food schedule is always crappy. Burning Mom says, sounds like a good day. Yeah, not a very productive one. I do have laundry in the dryer, though, so that was a little bit of productivity. And I walked down to the mailbox, and that's a little bit productive. Tomorrow, I get to go pick up my new glasses. So hopefully that'll be the most exciting thing I do all week. Because, way too often excitement equals drama, and I don't want any of that. Knots and Stitches said I passed out about 8:30 last night. Woke up about 7 a.m., then took a nap from 4 to 7 this afternoon. Good for you! Lots of rest. Sleep has been a thing today, yeah. I have so many days that, there's like 4 days a week I have to leave the house regularly. And I always think, well, when I'm done here, I'm going to go home and I'm going to take a nap. And then I get home, and because on the days I leave the house, I never get enough sleep. So I'm going to take a nap. And then I get home and think about things I should be doing. Can't take a nap because I have to do this thing and this thing and this thing. Well, then I procrastinate and don't do those things, and then I never do get my nap. Birding Mom says, sounds good. And Knots and Stitches, I got my nails done and grocery shopping. Mama Maid says, all right, I'm doing the no waste yarn snippy to get over myself that much faster. So you're treating yourself as a psychology experiment. Let me know how it goes. Yeah, I have not ever had a desire to do afterthought heels just because I don't want to snippy my knitting. Burning Mom said, oh, and 4 inches and a cuff on socks. Well, that's productive. I think I'm going to take my Nightmare Before Christmas sock to the Weaver's Cabin this week. I still need to get upstairs and do the tie-ups on that Cranbrook loom, but it's going to be like 90 Thursday afternoon, and so that's not going to happen. Mama Maid said, if you hear me cursing all the way up there, you'll know how it went. Yeah. Yeah, just fling a few jellyfish this way to make the point. And Burning Mom said, these are the socks I didn't want to knit, LOL. Now to see how she wants us to do the heel. Oh, yeah. The ones that required 20 measurements. Snyder Spindle said, well, I'm off to bed. Gotta try to work on wholesale tomorrow. Gotta keep them happy. Yeah, wholesale is stressful. Well, thanks for coming and hanging out. It's been fun having you here. And I hope you get good sleep and good rest. And that working on wholesale tomorrow is uneventful. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Yep, and Bauman Maid said hopefully you get some rest. Yeah, and I hope you feel better. And Snyder says, me too, have a great night. You too. I just realized I can see the shadow of the tripod legs on the drive wheel. That's War of the Worlds. Birdie Mom says, so the smoke from eastern Washington and or fires is here and I can't open the windows. Oh man, is it hot there tonight? I had to open all the windows back up and turn the fans back on here today. Oh man, and when I went outside to go to the mailbox, it's so humid. So it's like weird, even when it cools off at night, it's still really muggy. Yeah, I have, I have never had to deal with, I've never lived anywhere, been anywhere where I had to deal with the smoke from forest fires. I can't even imagine. Birdie Mom says 70, so not bad, but the house is heating up. She says it wasn't bad during the day, but at night it's worse. Where Honey Bunny's family was horrible all day. Oh man. Oh, is it common for there to be fires out that way? It's like I always think of, fires in California and Colorado and whatnot. Knots and Stitches says, being from Texas, I don't understand how people live without air conditioning. That is a completely foreign concept to me. Yeah, my house doesn't have air conditioning. We have ceiling fans, and because my house is as old as it is, the windows are aligned in such a way because, people didn't have air conditioning and you depended on cross breezes. So the windows and doors are placed such that if we open all the doors and windows, we get delicious cross breezes in all but the absolutely most brutal hot weather. Bomba Maid said it gets incredibly cold there. Where? Here? It gets pretty darn cold here. But not in the summer. Gets pretty darn hot here in the summer. Birding Mom said, so the Pacific Northwest didn't get higher than 80 degrees for many years. It's only been the last 10 years that we get long stretches without rain and super high temps. Yeah, because climate change is a myth, right? And she says, and the wildfires didn't really start getting bad until 5 years ago. I mean, maybe every 10 years you'd have a bad one. Yeah, I've never heard of a forest fire here. In some places in northern Michigan, there are from time to time, usually caused by like a lightning strike. Although there have been forest fires in northeastern Michigan that were caused by the DNR. The state bird is the Kirkland warbler, and in Michigan, and the Kirkland. Well, no, it's not. The robin is. The Kirkland warbler should be. And it nests in a certain kind of pine. And the only way the pine cones of that kind of tree open up to release the seeds is if there's fire. So from time to time, the DNR will burn certain stretches of a forest that has that type of tree. And every once in a great while, that'll, get away from them. Controlled burns don't always stay controlled. And I know in much farther north into Canada, there are sometimes forest fires that are caused by lightning strikes. Mama Maid said the 2 times I've been in the SeaTac area, once in June and once in November, the nights were flippin' freezing. The daytime temps were what I call cold, so 50s. And she said, at times when we were getting above 100 at home, so the no air conditioning makes sense. Birding Mom said, so 2017 we had weeks of smoky days because of fires in BC, not Vancouver but north of Spokane. So the winds are strange here. Because of the mountain ranges, I would imagine. Mama Maid said, my dad's house is older and doesn't have central air. He has window units now. But in the summer, we just opened the windows and that controlled it pretty well. Yeah, see, they don't build houses with those sort of considerations anymore because they just go ahead and put in central air. When I was growing up in the South, all the old buildings, and, so in the 60s, old buildings were probably buildings built in the 1800s. But the old buildings, they were often like, office buildings, and the banks and things were built of stone, limestone blocks or whatever, and had really high ceilings, ceiling fans, and what do you call those, like the windows up high that open up above a door? Is that a clerestory window? I can't remember. Can't remember if that's the correct name. But so, the fans would draw the hot air up, and then the hot air would escape through those windows. I'm waving my arm around like you can see it. But those windows that were up really high against the ceiling, and, so that would keep air circulation. Birding Mom said, normally it goes the other way, off the Pacific and down the Rockies into the plains. Yeah, that makes sense. And then keeps coming and smacks us upside the head over here. Bauman Maid said, and then being in Baltimore for Maryland Sheep and Wool last year, it was already flirting with hundreds here, but still stupid cold up there. To me, my friend was in t-shirts and shorts, and I was there and had to borrow a hoodie because I can't pack for anything farther north than Dallas. Maryland Sheep and Wool is really unpredictable that time of year. Some years it's cold, some years it's hot, some years it pours rain, some years it's sunny the whole time. I've been several times where um, the okay, if you come in the main gate and you go straight back, and there are vendor booths, tents off to the right, where that's just been a big old mud hole. It's awful, and they put down like lots and lots of straw to try to suck it up. But then, and even the hot years, I'm always so amused. It'll be like way too hot, and there'll be all these women wandering around wearing their cardigans and their shawls and things that they want to show off. Things that they made. And I'm like, oh, honey, it's way too hot for that shawl. Save it for Rhinebeck, where the weather is more supportive of, because I guess I've never been to Rhinebeck, but apparently the thing to do is to knit a Rhinebeck sweater to wear at Rhinebeck. Someday when I don't have to work every weekend, I would like to go to Rhinebeck. Mama Maid said my cold threshold on what the forecast is set at 50, I think. It's been a while since I said it, but my hot threshold is set to 95 because that's about the temp it starts getting to where it feels hot to me. For me, it depends. What feels hot depends on how humid it is. Because the high 70s start being uncomfortable for me if it's really humid. Anything in the 80s is hot. And above that is like, I don't have anything nice to say, so I just won't say anything. And I have never experienced heat that did not include a lot of humidity, so I don't know what, I hear that in Arizona and New Mexico it's a dry heat. And I can't even imagine, because I've never experienced a heat that you couldn't swim through. Knots and Stitches says, I start sweating at 70. Yeah, and that's probably because of humidity. Because everything just, feels like that. Mama Maid said, not just uncomfortable. Humid is always uncomfortable, but actually hot. Like I don't want to be out here because I'm broiling. That's around 95 for me, and anything above body temp is just wrong. Yeah, I hear ya. Mama Maid said, which is why we have the siesta here. We just don't move during the hot parts. And that makes perfect sense to me. Knots and Stitches says hormonal imbalance from PCOS and being overweight makes me sweat at lower temperatures. And that is relevant as well. Hormones play a really big part in how we perceive temperature, I think. Okay, I thought I was done with my chips, but I think I need some more. I'm really hungry. Probably because I've only eaten once today and it was quite a while ago. Birdie Mom says, LOL, siesta is my kind of day. And Mama Maid said, hormones are horrible little things. They don't act little. Yeah, mine don't give me as much trouble anymore. I do still have the occasional hot flash. But there was a while there where I was just too darn hot all the time. Today is just Tuesday, isn't it? I feel like it's much later in the week. Birding Mom said it's been a week already and it's Tuesday. Yeah, I think it was Tuesday last week when I went to the eye doctor. And then they told me 10 to 14 days for my glasses to be ready. And then I got an email on Friday or Saturday. But tomorrow's the first day we could schedule it in, since Richard had to work. Mama Maid said, and sew the halves together, then make a tube with these now wider strips. That should work as the inside outside bits, right? I'm trying to do this without a whole ton of fiddly bits. I don't know. Hopefully Veggie will chime in, since she's the experienced afterthought heel person. Birding Mom, have you done afterthought heels? I mean, I'm assuming that's what you were talking about, Mama Maid. Oh, I missed a bit. What did I miss? Oh, okay, up there. I have a sewing related thought. I need to make me some DPN cozy things, and I have a jelly roll. If I take a couple of strips and cut those in half and sew the halves together, then make a tube with these now wider strips, that should work as the inside outside. I think so. I need to make some of those too, and I need to think about it. But you know what? There's probably a tutorial on YouTube. Birding Mom says, so what are you doing, Bauman Maid? It sounds interesting. And Birding Mom says, yeah, YouTube has a video for that. YouTube has a video for just about everything. This chair is hurting my butt tonight. Obama Maid said, YouTube has lots of DPN cozy videos, but none are really doing what I'm thinking. I would maybe experiment with paper or some really cheap fabric that you don't care about, just to work out, exactly how it's going to work. Or cut up an old t-shirt or something just to make sure. Make a muslin, as they say. And she says they do the neater looking thing where they hide the turning hole on the inside. I don't particularly care if these are perfect looking, so my turning hole would be on the ends of the jelly roll strip tubes. She says, it's working in my head, but just not when I try to type it out. Yeah, I'm not getting a visual. She says, take one strip, cut it in half, and sew it together along one edge to make a couple wide strips. Do that twice, one outsider and one liner piece. Well, I should not talk with my mouth full, right? I say, if it works in your head, give it a try. But I'm a fraidy cat, and I would probably make a muslin first. She says, then turn the bigger tube and cut the lengths I need for a DPN cozy. Fold it so the inside is on the inside, and then I would just tuck the raw edges and stitch it up, which would also keep it folded in half. That sounds reasonable. And she said, it works in my head, and I honestly hate turning out tiny corners and stuff. Birding Mom says, go for it. If you can envision it, it will probably work fine. Bama Maid said, and since it's for me, it doesn't have to be exactly pretty. I don't mind seeing the stitching on the end. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in if it's for you and you don't care, do it however you want. Mama Maid asked, did you get to read any more? Or did you crash out last night? I got to read a little bit. I am up to the dessert in the barn with the champagne jello with pineapple chunks. But I'm still sort of in the middle of the thing where I think he gave her his key. That's how far I am. Veggie said, I've been gone so long. What year is it? I'm sorry, honey. It's still 2020. And Veggie says, oh, snap. Veggie leaves. Mama Maid said, ooh. I have a feeling a lot of really bad stuff is gonna happen. I don't know what. I don't know in what direction, but it just feels like a lot of bad stuff is gonna happen. And it feels like the little pixie woman is starting to rethink her friendship with this fella. Veggie said, F this shiz, I'm out, lol. And I feel really bad for the human researcher guy. Daniel. I feel really bad for Daniel. Mama Maid said, when you finish, catch up with Dork's channel. That part spawned a whole deep discussion of stuff. Veggie asked Illyri. No, this is The Turn by, I can't remember the name of the author at the moment. The Hollows series. It's a different author. Veggie asked, oh? And says, cool beans. Kim Harrison, that's it. Dork is doing a read-along of this series over on her Discord. But I'm behind, so I can't go hang out in the discussion because, spoilers. Need to get caught up. Veggie says, made some golden milk, forgot food. Golden milk, yay! I haven't made any golden milk in a couple of days. Today I put it in, I opened up a can of corned beef hash for lunch or dinner, whatever it was that I ate after I got up, and mixed some of my golden paste into it. Is nowhere near as yummy as golden milk. Mama Maid said, we're doing a read along kind of thing on Dork's Discord, whether it's a reread or a first read. Veggie asked, is it the first book? The book I'm reading, which is called The Turn, is the prequel, which was written after the rest of the series, if I understand correctly. Knots and Stitches asks, what is golden milk? Golden milk is warm milk with turmeric and some other spices in it. I sweeten mine a little bit. I use golden paste because I try to have some golden paste a couple of times a day, which is it's a paste made from turmeric, coconut oil, and cracked black pepper. And then, so when I make golden milk, I take a cup of hot milk and I melt the golden paste into it, sweeten it a little bit, and add a little ground ginger and a little ground cinnamon for flavor. And golden milk is supposed to be really good for your immune system, like in the winter. I'm doing, while, in these plague times, our immune systems can use all the help they can get. I'm taking the golden paste primarily for inflammation because, everything that's wrong in my body has inflammation as a component or a result of whatever is going on. And it's made a very noticeable difference in a very short amount of time. Knots and Stitches says that sounds so weird. It's it's like I tend to put it in my food, so it's like everything I eat is starting to taste like, Indian food, almost like chai, sort of. Yeah, it's good, especially the cinnamon and ginger added to the turmeric and the coconut oil and the crack. It's good. It's really good. It's better in the cold weather than in the heat of the summer. But because mine has coconut oil in it, I need to drink it before it cools down completely. Or the coconut oil clings to the coconut oil starts to get hard and leave a crusty film. Knots and Stitches said I can't have dairy, but I can see that helping. If you could add it to other kinds of beverages, like if you do almond milk or anything like that. Or like I said, I often just add it to food. It's really good in like scrambled eggs. It was tolerable in my corned beef hash. It depends. Any food that might work well with turmeric, you could just go ahead and add it. You're basically adding a lot more turmeric and then the coconut oil and cracked black pepper. Bama Mates said, the turn came out once the original series was complete. I use quotes there because the last book came out, then the turn was published, and then she did one more in the series. So I think it's done now, but I was wrong last time. Veggie said you can sub for whatever milk for dietary needs. Birding Mom said my friend puts turmeric on salads, etc. Yeah, there's lots of ways you can use it. Knots and Stitches said cinnamon and ginger are both anti-inflammatories. Yeah, it's people had been encouraging me for a couple of years, a couple of people I know, to try it, that, with my particular health stuff, that it might be a very good thing. And I finally got around to it. And I'm very, wish I had done it a couple of years ago. Veggie says, trying to fix this shoulder issue can't hurt. That's right, it can't hurt. Right, Knots and Stitches. That's why I said, do you do almond milk or soy milk or any of those other kinds of non-dairy milks? Or, like I said, you can just put it in your food. Some people just take a spoonful of golden paste and chase it with water. You take ginger and cinnamon in pill form. You can probably get turmeric in pills or capsules, too. No milk. Oh, okay. See, what I was asking was, is it no dairy milk, or you don't do any of the non-dairy milks either? Like none of the nut liquids or anything like that. Birdie Mom said you can. I sometimes take it as a pill. Yeah, I assumed that you probably could. Anything that's used medicinally in one part of the world or another can typically be found as a pill or a capsule. Veggie said added ginger and cinnamon and out of honey, so used maple syrup instead. Made making fun of me. Nut liquids. How's the maple syrup taste in it? I think that sounds yummy, but I'm not positive. I tolerate maple syrup, but I also tolerate cane sugar. So I usually use a little cane sugar, but I would try it with maple syrup. That could be a nice autumn-ish sort of beverage. Knots and Stitches said, I haven't been able to find a milk substitute that doesn't contain a bunch of extra carbs or screw with my hormone levels. Well, I can see that. Just not worth it. Well, and and I haven't really enjoyed any of those that I've tried. And I think that if I couldn't tolerate dairy, that I just would do without. But you don't have to make golden milk. There's lots of other ways you can use it. Veggie said, "Oh yeah, that's not fun." And if you don't mind the flavor of the golden paste, like I said, a lot of people just put their whatever their dosage is in their mouth and chase it with water. I've done that a couple of times. It's not, I mean, I can get it down, but I wouldn't do it recreationally. Veggie says also nut sacks. Did you mean to say sacks or sucks? I was just going to say, boy, I need to stretch my knee out. But then I happened to notice the clock and it's time to take a break. So, Veggie says cane self off stage. You can stay. You don't have to leave. Nut milk bags. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm going to take a break and use the restroom. Knots and Stitches said, I never really liked milk unless it had chocolate in it. When I was growing up, milk was an ingredient in food. Yeah, and I am one of those very strange people who absolutely loves dairy. Any kind of dairy. Whole milk, half and half, butter. Good cottage cheese. There aren't very many that are good, but good, rich cottage cheese. Bob and Maid said, my coin purse looks like a medieval torture device for the man caught diddling the neighbor's wife. Is that to keep pickpockets out of it? Okay, so you guys go ahead and keep being silly if you like. I shall be back in probably 10 minutes approximately or so. So I will see y'all's then. Of course, I bumped the camera. I don't remember how it was set, but that'll do, I guess. Let's see. Knots and Stitches said, my dietary no-nos are dairy, caffeine, soy, grains, starches, and processed sugars. Most foodstuffs you start talking about are going to be things I should avoid. Yeah, I get it. And there have been times in my life where I had to avoid most of that as well, because I also had, possibly still have PCOS, but I'm postmenopausal, so I don't have a lot of those same symptoms anymore. I still have the, as you can see, still have the overweight. But that is it. That isn't just hormones for me. There's some other stuff going on there. But I've always been able to tolerate dairy. So, and that may be because of my blood type, because if you read the Eating Right for Your Blood Type book, he says that in his research and experience, the B blood type is the only blood type that really tolerates and benefits from dairy. And I was very happy to say it. Very happy to hear that. Balhamade said, pasta! And Knots and Stitches says, huge nope. Screws with the hormones. Yeah. Anything that's carbohydrates really is going to mess with the hormones in PCOS. Veggie says, only B, boo. What type are you, Veggie? A. A is the only blood type that really can manage a hardcore vegetarian or even vegan diet. O blood types are do best on like a paleo sort of thing. A lot more meat, a lot less of everything else. I was kind of jealous. I would rather meat. Give me a ginormous steak and don't bother with any sides, and I'm perfectly happy. But I'm glad I can have the milk and the cheese and all that stuff. Yeah, the positives and negatives don't factor into the diet. It's the letter, and then whether you are a secretor or a non-secretor. And I am a non-secretor, and so that changes what I can and can't have a little bit. Like I can have tomatoes. If I was a secretor, I wouldn't be able to have tomatoes. But secretors are much more common. And what that means is that, you know how when back before DNA testing, like if a woman was raped, they would try to take samples, and because secretors spill their blood type information into their other body fluids, you know, so from saliva or sexual fluids, you can determine the blood type. Non-secretors don't. So, you know, you can't take my saliva and determine my blood type from it. Veggie says, ew. Knots and Stitches said, oh, positive. Give me the meats and a huge salad. Yeah. Yeah, and see, and that you staying away from grains is much better for you, as you know. Yeah, O blood types would not do well as vegetarians, and A blood types would not do good on a paleo or primal diet. B is pretty much the balanced carnivore. You know, I need a lot more meat than I got when I was a vegetarian for for 20 years. But I also need vegetables and some grains and stuff. But I don't tolerate wheat. And I thought it was interesting because I already knew that I couldn't tolerate wheat. And then when I researched the blood type stuff, was not surprised to find out that B blood types should not eat wheat. There are some other grains that I can tolerate. I can tolerate spelt, which is an ancient wheat. It's modern wheat that messes me up, or anything that's related to modern wheat. Bauman Maid said, I'm A. I don't have any dietary restrictions, but I do have lots of preferences. But see, now you could be a vegetarian if you wanted to. And healthy. That's why people always say, well, being a vegetarian isn't healthy. Well, it's not healthy unless you have the right genetics for it. And the genetics related to my blood type originate in the steppes. So, think the Mongols and the kind of things they would have been acclimated to eat in their native environment. And then they left deposits of their genetics across Eastern Europe. But then it stops, the prevalence of the B blood type stops, like Poland and Bavaria and that pretty much range. And then you go farther east into Germany and you don't see it so much. You see more A's and O's. Knots and Stitches said, even being O positive, there are some meats I don't tolerate well, mostly pork products and anything greasy. I would have to look up the details, but yes, they're in any blood type. There's I have a list of foods in each category, meat, vegetables, grains, whatever. There's a beneficial list, a neutral list, and a don't ever eat this list. So now, beef, I love beef, and I do very well on beef, but beef is only in my neutral list. And some of the meats that would be beneficial for me, I don't like. So it's not that I don't tolerate them, it's like I can't gag them down. I don't prefer lamb. I don't prefer goat. They have that muskiness, or lamb actually just tastes like lanolin. I don't choose to lick a sheep. But I do like venison and I do like rabbit, and they're on my beneficial list. Veggie said, I used to be a vegetarian. I'd go back to it if it wasn't for the hubby. He's a meat guy. Yeah, I was doing low carb, very hardcore, because of PCOS. And then when I met my husband, he's a carb guy, and it was hard, And then for a while, we didn't have a lot of money for groceries, and when his divorce was going through and stuff, we didn't have a lot of money for groceries, and meat's expensive. And if I don't get enough protein, my health really deteriorates. Bama Maid said, nope, you see, I have this relationship with burgers and fishes and chicken and my beloved cured pork belly. She said, I can enjoy a salad, but it's got to have some form of meat on it somewhere. Bacon, eggs, chicken, fish, meat. I can eat just a salad. And like I said, I was a vegetarian for 20 years. I thought I was doing something good for my health. And turns out because of my tendency towards PCOS, that it was one of the worst things I could do diet-wise for my health. And so when I found out that PCOS is linked with insulin intolerance, then, I started eating meat again. Knots and Stitches said too much fried foods or sugar give me heartburn. I never used to have trouble with heartburn, and in the last couple of years, some things are bothering me. But like I can't eat iceberg lettuce. That comes back at me hard. Knots and Stitches said 2 bites of pork breakfast sausage and I'll have heartburn all day. That's sad. That's one of the few ways I like pork. I'm not a big pork person, which is okay because it's not on my good meats list. Veggie said brisket. Yeah, I like brisket. Veggie said it's not good for PCOS. Carbohydrates are way bad for PCOS. Bama Maid said, but Freebirds has this Beyond Meat stuff for their burritos that's actually... it's actually Etsy good. Oh, sometimes you gotta love auto carrot. Veggie says Etsy carrot. What the hell, carrot? There might have been ways that I could have. Now, see, if I had started out knowing that I had a higher need for protein, I might have been able to manage it. But I always did, the careful food combining and making sure you have, you always eat this with that to get the complete proteins and all that stuff. And it turned out that, after 20 years of not eating enough protein, things in my health had built up to such an extent that I just couldn't get. I could have eaten 2 or 3 pounds of tofu a day and still not been getting enough protein. But then again, tofu is soy, and soy's not great for your home. Although, some people use soy for menopause. And it's believed that in cultures that eat a lot of soy, that women have an easier time in menopause, or at least when I was, it's been a while since I was researching that. Findings might have changed. Knots and Stitches says, I avoid any of the meatless meats because most of them are soy-based. Yeah. And see, and I love good tofu. Not all tofu is good, but I love good tofu. But I tend to stay away from soy. Soy isn't on my, go ahead and eat this list. So neither is tofu. But there are some things that I'm willing to cheat once in a while because they don't immediately kick my ass. I don't cheat on wheat, though, because wheat immediately, like within 20 minutes, kicks my ass and lasts about 6 days. Knots and Stitches says, all the nope. Soy is, Veggie says soy is weird. Bama Maid said, about the only other meatless meat type thing I've had that I actually liked was grilled portobello mushrooms with all the spices. Yes, my stepdaughter will make portobellos for us every once in a while. They're really good. I don't really understand why people think that they're meaty, other than maybe the texture, but I like them very much. Knots and Stitches says soy increases estrogen level. Yeah, well then that would be why it couldn't be helpful for menopause. If somebody wants to increase their estrogen for in PCOS, no, estrogen is bad because It's complicated, and I don't know if I remember the details, but it has to do with estrogen receptors. Um, and then the estrogen receptors get filled up, and then there's all this leftover. Because if you have PCOS, chances are you produce too much estrogen and too much testosterone, which is why women with PCOS often get, a mustache or chin fuzz. But the estrogen fills up all the estrogen receptors, but there's excess estrogen floating around, and it messes with other organs and body systems. Veggie said, is it bad or not? I don't know. It's good in miso soup. Um, well, for anybody in this country, most soy is GMO. So if you don't care about GMO, then have at if you don't have PCOS. If you care about GMO, then stay away from soy. And if you have PCOS, absolutely stay away from soy. Knots and Stitches says, about to go to bed. Too much estrogen will make you more likely to get reproductive cancer. Yeah. It makes it hard to conceive, makes it hard to maintain a pregnancy, all kinds of muckiness with your reproductive system, including cancer. Weight causes weight gain that's very difficult to lose. Lots and lots and lots of hormonal stuff. And not to mention the aforementioned facial hair, which as women we generally are not in favor of on ourselves. That's also why some postmenopausal women get more facial hair. It has to do with all the hormone muckiness. I will say though that my menopause wasn't too bad. I started having the occasional hot flash when I was around 30. And they definitely ramped up in my 50s. But there was irritability, but I would say my menopause was easy compared to a lot of women's. Mama Maid said, I'm heading off to bed. Gotta get up and do the things in the morning. Alrighty, Mama Maid. We'll see you. And then she says, good night, peeps, going to bed. Everybody's going to bed? You guys are going to leave me here talking to myself? Oh, to peeps. Okay, peeps who are going to bed. I get it. I was going to say, don't everybody leave me. I don't even know who else is here. I'm going to take a peek. Birdie Mom says, night, Mama Maid. Oh, we've got lots of bots tonight. Lots of bots. And Birding Mom says, night, knots and stitches. So you, Birding Mom says, me, you're not a bot. If you are, you're a very bright and wise bot. So, good night, knots and stitches, and good night, Bomb and Maid. I hope you both sleep well and get lots of good rest. Veggie says, beep, boop, beep, boop. Yeah, you're not a bot either. Unless you're a smarty pants bot. Get affiliate now. Let me help you get affiliate. We'll make you a partner in 2 weeks. It's like, what if I don't want to be a partner? What if I don't give a rat's behind about being a partner? I don't think I've gotten any of that kind of spam in here in quite a while. Birding Mom said, oh, who did you recommend for Twitch streaming help? I can't find my notes. I like Alpha Gaming. He's one of my go-to people. And there's somebody, Gael, Gael something. I think he lives in France, but he has a British accent. But Alpha Gaming is he's Harris Heller here on Twitch, and he does gaming, but he also does a lot of just talking and answering people's questions and talking about streaming stuff. And he's very down to earth. Very just feels like a really good person. But his channel is Alpha Gaming. And there have been a variety of other people whose videos I've watched, but I have found his to be the most consistently helpful. And he does review equipment and, and he reviews and he talks about like the least expensive way to get set up versus more expensive ways, and what you actually need and what you don't need but could be fun. And he's got a background in sound production and is a musician and has a playlist of his own music available to stream from iTunes and I think also on YouTube maybe, that people can use for free on their streams. And it's sort of a lo-fi, chill sort of stuff, instrumental stuff. Veggie says, you gonna stream? You gonna stream? Yeah. Birdie Mom says, I've been thinking about it. I have to clean somewhere to set up, though. Yeah. Yeah, and I need to actually clean. My table's all cluttered with stuff, and I need to sweep the floor underneath myself and my desk here. Yeah. So all you need is enough room to sit and do whatever you're doing and shine a light on it and point a camera at it. You are welcome. Okay, we got about another hour. Oh, and Birding Mom, thank you for the recommendation for that sock base supplier. I'm gonna I think I'm gonna order maybe some sample skeins from them and see what I like. And like get a sample of their regular sparkle yarn and then a sample of that, over the top sparkle yarn to compare, and maybe a couple of their other bases, sock bases. And their prices seem decent. And, if I like them, then I'm going to go ahead and apply for the wholesale. Yeah. I'm curious to see what their wholesale margins are like, since they're like at Wool to Die For. It doesn't really behoove a person to apply for wholesale unless they order just thousands and thousands of dollars worth a year. The wholesale only saves you like 1 or 2%, or at least that's how it was before. I can't remember her name, before she retired, and now somebody else is running it. Birding Mom said, so the Super Silver one is a slight gray color, so it takes the yarn a bit different. Yeah, I'm curious. And sometimes if you put a lot of Angelina in something, it gets a little scratchy. So that's why I thought maybe I'd get a skein of each. And you can buy individual skeins. So thought I'd get one of each and compare and see which one I would want to offer to customers. They dye differently. Yeah, I would imagine. So you said Chemnitz has been using them. Has she done videos? I should probably go and look. I haven't watched her. I know I subscribed to her. I haven't seen her come across my subscription list recently. Although I know that doesn't necessarily mean that a person is not posting videos. Because there have been times when I hadn't seen something from somebody in several months and just thought, they're taking a break or whatever, and then go look actually at their channel, and there's been tons of videos that YouTube didn't bother to tell me about. Yet it tells me about all these other people who, I haven't bothered to watch any of their videos in a long time. Oh, she did a How to Dye series for them on their channel. I shall have to go look after stream. Since, I'll be up for a little bit after stream because I have to wait for my laundry to be done. And I need to eat something. Gee, we got really quiet. Veggie's like snoring. Snoring. Yeah, a lot of people went to bed earlier tonight than usual. Burning Mom says, "Yeah, sorry, rough day." That's okay. It was a long ass week. What baby? And we have company. Keep your tail out of the yarn, please. The flyer's gonna get you. Yeah, I know. My stuff is all in your way. You want to lay down there. But no laying on the keyboard. She lays on the keyboard. And like then all these windows open on my computer. And now she's gonna scooch the light off of the table because it's in her way. So Kat has been very needy lately. Birding Mom said, my cat just showed up too. He's been doing this thing where he snuggles and slowly smooches me off the couch. Yeah. Yeah. Is he seeming needier than usual lately? That's why I'm trying to decide if it's like maybe she's reacting to the season change or. None of our schedules have really changed. Well, Anya's schedule has changed now that school started. Yesterday and today she had to physically go to campus. And the bus picks her up at like 6:40 in the morning. And then she comes home like around 3. And then she goes to work at 4 and works until like 11. It's like, I hope she's getting enough sleep. But other than that, none of our schedules have changed noticeably. Birding Mom said she's young. I only needed about 2 to 3 hours of sleep if I could crash on a weekend when I was that age. Well, that's true. That's true. And yeah, now I need 10 to 12 hours. Actually, if I could get 9 hours consistently, that would be good. I just don't. So then I'll crash on days that I can, and sleep 11 to 12 hours. Birding Mom said, one of mine is bored, so kind of needy. This one isn't that way. Well, she was sleeping in the fruit bowl earlier. I could see her little ears sticking up above the edge of it. But now apparently she needs company. So she's on the table with her back to me, but she's listening. Just in case I'm talking about her. Kitty, kitty. So we're playing roving chicken again tonight. Half an hour and this much left. Guessing we're not going to make it. So I'm spinning quite a bit finer tonight than I have the last couple of nights. I think this is Polworth and silk. And I think it'll end up getting woven into a scarf. Burning Mom said, so we only have 4 signed up for Advent. Veggie, are you going to join us? Please, 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 please. Birding Mom, is that 4 including you? Birding Mom said, I need to get better on the spam bot advertising. Okay, so 4 including you. I mean, we can still do it with only 4, right? I mean, it'd be fun to have more. And notices Veggie Zombie hiding. Oh, Veggie. There's Veggie. Veggie said, sorry, I just saw someone post that they were told they had to evacuate and their location says Seattle. And she says, my family is near there. Yeah, my in-laws are near there too. Birdie Mom said, yes, that's 6 minis we'd each send to 4 people, so doable. Is that because of fires or protesting or? Veggie says the fires are there in Linwood. I don't know where that is, but Honey Bunny would know. Now, he hasn't said anything about hearing anything from family in regard to the fires or the smoke. Although, if it's something they're used to, they may not, mention it. Veggie said, just looked up purchase info from the person who posted it. They're in Bonnie Lake. Yeah, I don't know where Bonnie Lake is. Veggie said, my mom says evacuation was only for East Washington. Birding Mom says, oh my God, the entire West is on fire. I've got a fire map up. Bonnie Lake is towards Mount Rainier from Seattle. Okay. My brother-in-law in Enumclaw can see Mount Rainier from his back porch on a day that there's no clouds or haze. So not very often, but on a clear day, boy, that's scary. Birding Mom says we've had a spate of fires crop up here in Tacoma, but they've all been contained. Have they been like, lightning or arson or? Birding Mom says most of Puget Sound can see Rainier on a good day. And wouldn't this just be the year that one of those old mountains would start to rumble? I'm surprised we haven't heard anything about that yet. Veggie says, yeah, my mom was saying they can't even see the mountains. Birding Mom said they haven't said what started them, but I think it's suspicious, and then said, shh, don't mention it. Birding Mom said so nowhere near Linwood. I was reading today that there's a fairly large fire and still growing, but I don't remember where. But it was started by a gender reveal, somebody's gender reveal party, that they had some sort of a pyrotechnics display, and they started a fire which now has encompassed more than 1,000 acres. It's like, what is the matter with people? And apparently this isn't the first time that's happened. What is the matter with people? Veggie says, yeah, 20 miles. Birding Mom said, but when the plague is over and you visit family, we need to have coffee. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And out there's like a coffee shop on every corner, if not two or three on every corner. Veggie said, gender is so important. Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand why that whole gender reveal thing has become such a huge industry. Birding Mom said, yeah, in California it was a smoke generator. Veggie says, yes, and they are all Starbucks. Yeah, I was amazed to see, like two Starbucks on the same intersection. So I guess that's so you don't have to cross traffic. People out here aren't quite that serious about their coffee. Birding Mom said, remember yesterday when we were talking about how stupid people were with animals? Turns out it's not just wildlife, just anything outdoors. Yeah. Veggie said Starbucks isn't even that great. Um, I was trying to think what various members of Richard's family used to always send us coffee for Christmas, but nobody does anymore because he started getting a type of kidney stones that are exacerbated by or caused by caffeine. Caffeine is one of the things he's supposed to be careful about. So he doesn't drink very much coffee at all anymore. But at first they would send us Starbucks. And then they started sending Seattle's Best. And then for a while they were sending Pete's. But I don't know, the little coffee shop in my little town, as they get coffee from some local roaster, and it's fabulous. I don't love all of their blends, but some of them are really good. Birding Mom says, obviously you've never been through a Ladybug Bikini Espresso up here. They are another big chain. No, I have not, but I've heard of that. I had forgotten about it, but I have heard of that. Veggie said the bikini baristas. I'm surprised that the health department would allow that. And what if you spilled hot coffee on your midriff? That could be dangerous. Birding Mom said, well, it's fresh. That's the key. Valhalla coffee is local and amazing. Yeah, we have our little coffee shop is called Wonder Bar, but they're the Wonder Bar Coffee Bar, coffee and crepes, and they have some amazing crepes, and they're buckwheat, which technically I'm not supposed to have, but I do from time to time. They are yummy. They have breakfast style crepes, and they have dessert style crepes, and they have savory crepes, and they're just yummy. Yeah, and to think that I used to drink coffee out of a can, Maxwell House or whatever, and thought that was good coffee. And my mom drank instant coffee for. I wouldn't be surprised if she still drinks instant coffee at home. Because, she doesn't want to make a whole pot just for herself. Birding Mom said, yep, the bikini baristas sued the state to be able to wear them. And ladybugs are along I-5 truckers and in the port and industrial areas. I wonder why. Betcha they get good tips in those places. Veggie says, yikes. So, but is the coffee any good? Veggie says, Valhalla coffee sounds like I need some. Yeah, that sounds like it'd be good in the morning, doesn't it? Wake my butt up. Yeah, at first glance, I thought it said vanilla. And I'm like, what? Vanilla coffee's all the rage? Veggie says, then I will be ready for raiding. That's right. Birding Mom says, LOL, I've never been through one. I don't want to ogle a girl in a bikini, and I think that if you are famous for the bikini girls, you aren't concerned about the quality of the coffee. Yeah, that'd be my guess. Birding Mom said, so do you guys want whole beans or ground? I usually get whole beans. But whatever. Why are you sending care packages of Valhalla coffee? And Reggie said, I don't know if anyone else has grinders, so I have a grinder. Actually, I have a couple. One's for herbs, the other's for coffee. Birdie Mom says I can put it in the Advent package. Oh, that's cool. I need to think about what I might send with mine. And Birdie Mom says, "Oh, I'm sorry, you haven't signed up, Veggie. LOL." And Veggie says, "Laughing my ass off. True." So come on, Veggie, sign up. Come on, Veggie, we want you to play. And anyone else who's hanging out amongst all the lovely lurkers, Birding Mom is hosting an Advent mini skein swap on my Discord. And the details, there's a very nice post with all the details there. If anybody thinks they might like to send and receive some sock yarn minis that could be holiday themed but don't have to be, feel free to check that out. Veggie said, I seriously need to go through my stash and make up my mind on what I'm doing. Dyed or hand spun, probably not hand spun for me. I'm still a newbie. I would love to send hand spun, but I don't probably this time of year don't have time. Was having a conversation with a friend on Facebook today who makes her living primarily through Renaissance festivals. She's a stained glass artist, and all of her festivals have been canceled this year, and probably all of the rest of her festivals and shows for the rest of the year will be canceled. And she had posted talking about how far ahead she's so far ahead on inventory. She's had to buy additional plastic bins, and how this time of year she's usually scrambling trying to still have enough inventory, and how weird it feels. And my thought was, I've had all this time and I'm still behind on inventory. Veggie asked, how many mini skeins is the swap up to? Oh, it's time. If Birding Mom stepped away from the computer or if she didn't see the question. Birding Mom, if you're there, Veggie was asking how many mini skeins are we up to for the swap. And we'll give her a minute in case she's typing. And Reggie says, "Want in the Advent swap? Join the Discord." Join. Yes, join. She's doing the math. So, you wind this little ball of roving back up so I can show you what's left if anybody's interested. There is still this much left. So I may finish that. Probably finish that tomorrow. Do something else on stream. Maybe I'll finally get around to the applying. Birding Mom said you will send no more than 24 or 25 minis, but they are in sets, so there can be duplicates. So how many are we sending to each person? Because I cannot remember. Veggie asks, so bundled like 5 together? Birding Mom said, so I keep messing up because I keep having us send ourselves minis. LOL, surprise. Hey, kitty. She turned around to face me. So I have to look at the back of her head anymore. I guess she's not mad at me anymore. Okay. So are you still doing math, Birding Mom? Or are we good? Because I'm gonna get off of here. Maybe I'll look and see if there's anybody to raid. Birding Mom said, I will work the math out when I close the thread. If there are 5 people, then you would send the other 4 people a set of 6 minis. To each person, the minis would have to be different. But to the sender, you can duplicate minis. So like, if there were 5 people, I could send 4 different yarns, 1 mini of each of those yarns to each. So I would need 5 minis of each yarn, and then wait, no, never mind. I'm tired. I'll think about it later. As long as they go to different people. That's right. Yeah, I'll think about it later. Or when it comes right down to it, you know, and Birding Mom will have done all the math and she can say, okay, you need this many, you have this many people in the group and you need this many minis per person. So anyway, I'm not going to raid tonight. It's like we keep raiding all the same people. I'm going to just let the, and I think it's just the 3 of us. I think everybody else is sleeping. They're lurking. Sleeping, or they're bots or whatever. Yes, Veggie says, yeah, earlier in the stream at least. Yes, when we're not all so tired. So I'm going to just head off then, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. I just had a brain fart. So I'll try to be on time tomorrow night. I was like 20 minutes late today. Birding Mom said, no problem, I'm going to bed. Yeah, I got to do a couple of things and then I'm going to go to bed too. Try to get to bed early enough that I can read a little bit without smacking myself in the head with my phone when I fall asleep. Veggie said good night, it's bedtime here too. Alrighty, so I'll be back tomorrow night, barring any unforeseen circumstances, about 11 p.m. Eastern time in the U.S. And I'll see y'all's, and I don't know. I'm tired enough. I'm getting stupid. So anyway, have a good night. Get good rest. Have a great day tomorrow, and I'll see y'all's later.